Waves are classified as either mechanical or electromagnetic. Mechanical waves are waves that need a material medium to pass through, such as sound waves that need the presence of air molecules in order to propagate, or water waves that are a result of the vibration or oscillation of the water molecules, and so on. Electromagnetic waves, on the other hand, are waves that do not need a medium to pass through. They can travel through the vacuum of space. An obvious example is light, which travels from the sun through empty space to Earth. A change in the frequency of the light, or in other words, a different frequency of this kind of vibration, is another EM wave, such as radio waves, ultraviolet wave, X-rays, and so on. So, there is a range of frequencies for this kind of waves, and all these combine to form what is called the electromagnetic spectrum. If these are the two classes of waves that exist, then I have to ask, under which class does the gravitational or GM waves fall? According to the criteria that have been used to classify these waves, gravitational waves should fall under the electromagnetic class, because they can travel through the vacuum of space from distant colliding black holes to Earth and be detected. So, gravitational waves are some kind of EM waves. From the arguments presented, I think we can both agree on this point. Let's move on. We know that these classes of waves do not need a material medium to pass through. But from Einstein's general theory of relativity, we know that space itself is a medium called spacetime. It is usually referred to as a malleable fabric of spacetime. This is the medium through which GM waves propagate to reach us. Therefore, there exists a medium through which gravitational waves propagate. And since they are a form of EM waves, then there exists a medium through which EM waves propagate, and therefore light has a medium which it passes through or through which it propagates. It is fact that when two black holes that are orbiting one another collide and coalesce, they produce EM waves of all wavelengths. That means from radio waves right up to gravitational waves. We detect these waves and gravitational waves here on Earth. They are from the same source and travel the same distance at the same speed through empty space to Earth. I don't know about you, but I think this is a compelling evidence that these waves are identical. In subsequent videos, we shall look at the mathematical framework for this, which will be in the scope of general relativity, and videos on that will possibly be on a different playlist for special and general relativity. So you might want to subscribe so that the videos will appear on your homepage, making it easier for you to locate instead of depending on search results. Also, by subscribing and turning on the notification, which is by clicking the bell icon, you will be notified each time I upload a video. And if the video catches your attention or is a follow-up video or maybe one of the topics, you won't miss it. So let me give you a couple of seconds to click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification by clicking on that bell. Please don't forget to like the video and share it with friends. The movement of gravitational waves is no different from the movement of water waves on the surface of water. A wave is the movement of energy from one point in a medium to another without the movement of the particles of the medium themselves. When you touch the surface of a liquid such as water, for example, you are basically bending the surface at that point, and you are therefore adding energy to that point. This causes a disturbance that spreads as a wave. What has moved or spread is the energy you put in, but it required the liquid medium in order to spread. So, a wave is essentially just pure energy. Light is no different. We have confirmed that many times. When those two black holes collide, they give up some energy which acts as a point source in space-time, like in our water analogy. The space-time compresses and relaxes continuously in a wave-like manner, and this oscillation spreads. This is what we call gravitational waves, and as we have established, it is the energy of the coalescing black holes that is spreading using space-time as its medium. So, GM waves are pure energy like any other wave. And since they are a form of EM waves like light or X-rays or gamma rays, and they propagate as a result of the oscillation of space-time, then light as well as all other EM waves propagate as a result of the oscillation of space-time. I find it appalling that Einstein dismisses the idea of the existence of a medium through which the EM waves, such as light, could propagate, but introduces a medium again to allow some other kind of EM wave to pass. The idea of empty space not being really empty has been around long before Einstein. This was called the ether, a hypothetical medium through which light was thought to propagate. The Michelson-Morley experiment claims to have disproved the existence of the ether. So, how come we still find ourselves here? That experiment is not only wrong, but it is very wrong and unscientific. They presumed that the ether was flowing like a river and used the idea of relative velocity to say that light always travels at the same speed, even though its speed was supposed to have been affected by the speed of the ether. The question is there any experiment that confirms that the ether is flowing? You can have a body of water that is not flowing, such as a lake. Did they consider the possibility of the ether of being stable as a lake, which is a perfect explanation of why the speed of light remains the same regardless of the time of the year in which they made the measurements? This should have been a possible conclusion of that experiment, but it was completely abandoned just to force the idea of special relativity. This is why I say it is unscientific. I will do a complete video on this experiment later, so subscribe and click on the notification bell to get notified when that happens. The year 1905 was Einstein's miracle year, so it was called, because it was in this year that Einstein published many revolutionary papers, some of which include the photoelectric effect and the special theory of relativity. In his paper on the photoelectric effect, he wrote that light was made of particles which he called photons. He said that the energy of the light was carried by these photons, reason why the light energy came in discrete chunks, which is proportional to the number of photons in the light. Each photon carried an energy equal to the Planck's constant times the frequency of the light. This means that there are different photons for different electromagnetic radiations because they all have different frequencies and therefore have different corresponding photons. So in a nutshell, the word photon refers to the particle of an EM wave. It is said that these photons do not have mass. That is, they are massless particles, reason why they are able to travel at the speed of light. Recall that his other paper on special relativity stated that no particle with mass can ever travel at or greater than the speed of light. That the speed of light is the universal speed limit. This is because, according to special relativity, the mass of an object increases with speed, and this sets a limit to how fast it can travel. So in the theory, only massless particles can attain the speed of light, and light and all other EM waves have this massless property. The bottom line is, light is made of massless particles called photons. It is also a fact that light is a wave, just like waves on the surface of a liquid. Well, it was because of this that the phrase wave-particle duality was coined, which says that all particles behave like waves and all waves behave like particles. Okay, this is what our current theories tell us, and it's what is generally accepted. So let's use this knowledge on gravitational waves. First of all, according to the wave-particle duality, GM waves should also be made of particles. This is true because these waves carry momentum according to the de Broglie equation P equals h on lambda, and also because we detect that they indeed carry momentum. So they surely behave as particles according to this de Broglie theory and our observations. What we shall call these particles will be decided later. Since these particles travel at the speed of light, then they must be massless. These are the properties of photons that constitute EM waves, and therefore gravitational and EM waves must be equivalent. In light of the arguments presented, it is compelling to state that these particles of gravitational waves are the graviton that particle physicists have been looking for. So a graviton is to a gravitational wave as a photon is to an electromagnetic wave. We know according to general relativity that accelerating masses lose energy in the form of gravitational waves. The circular motion of planets is a form of acceleration. So why don't they spiral into the sun, just as it was claimed that electrons will spiral into the nucleus if the Rutherford model was adopted? Continue to part C to find out.